Hey, how's it going, guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be partying together a locally built $750 gaming PC.
We managed to build a PC under $1,000 that honestly is worth way more than $1,000 right now given the used market. But before we talk about this PC and how we made it happen, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Keeps.com, an affordable way to prevent hair loss.
Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience male pattern baldness by the time they're 35 years old? And the best way to prevent male pattern baldness is to stop it while you still have hair.
We have a team here at the Toasty Bros that, well, easily could go bald. I mean, we got Zach, we got McAllister, and the best part is it's very affordable. So even if you don't have a ton of money to spend, you can save that hair.
Keeps offers generic FDA-approved medications for hair loss, which means it's safe and affordable.
And the best part is you could easily be treated at home. A licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment plan for you, and then ship that treatment to your door every 3 months. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to Keeps.com, link in the description down below. And if you use that link, you will save 50% off your first order. KEEPS.com/ToastyBros. Thanks again to Keeps for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into the video, shall we?
So one of the reasons that we were able to get a good deal on this PC is because we got a few of these parts used locally. So one thing that kind of makes this a hidden gem is the fact that it uses a Ryzen 5 3500X, which they really didn't sell on their own, or at least at a good price. So you really could only get them from pre-builds. This one actually came out of an HP pre-built that was put onto an aftermarket motherboard.
3500Xs are actually available on the new market right now. They're not the best value, but if people out there are selling them used, might be a good option. And the fact that we were able to get a whole bundle deal here and then buy a couple other components to make this, well, a complete PC build, I think we have a really good value option here. So how about not waste any more time and talk about each individual part and how it makes up this PC build.
So what we have, like we said, is a 3500X, which is a 6-core 6-thread. It's basically a 3600 without threading, and it's on par with Intel's 9th gen i5. That's kind of why they made the 3500X. It did come with a Wraith cooler, which is pretty nice, so we didn't have to buy one. This also came with an MSI Tomahawk B450 Max motherboard, which are still pretty expensive full-size boards. And of course, you get your 4 RAM slots, you get extra PCI slots, and you even have NVMe as well. Now, the other thing that this came with for a total of $250 was 8 gigs of RAM as well, but you know, we're not gonna use that. See, HP, like I said, a lot of these parts were from one of those HP pre-builts that I think Matt actually recommended the person, and then they sold this to us basically, so that's fun. But we decided to get this RAM right here. This is DDR4, 16 gigs, and I believe it's 3000 megahertz. If you look really close there, 3000 megahertz, but it's dual channel, 16 gigs. It's gonna be a lot better than having a single 8 gig stick. And of course, this 8 gig stick, you could probably sell for $30 to $40. So obviously, if you want to recoup some money back to cover the RAM, you could totally do that. Now for storage, we decided just to go with the cheapest NVMe drive you can typically get, and this is the Silicon Power 512 gig NVMe SSD. That just plops right into this slot right here. You'll make sure that you get a riser, which we don't have, but luckily, you know, we build computers for a living, so we have plenty of them. But 512 gigs should be enough to download Warzone.
And that's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
So yeah, let's go ahead and move on.
Now for the thing that was definitely the most expensive part of this build, the graphics card. This is an Asus Strix GTX 1070. Now, these normally go for well over $400 on eBay, and most of the time, those are the reference NVIDIA cards that, well, don't cool very well. But this is that beautiful 3-fan Strix card, and honestly, for $380, given the market, it's a pretty damn good deal and should play pretty much any game we throw at it. Now for the power supply, before the people in our Discord server get mad, this is the RaidMax Vortex, which we actually picked up with all this stuff. Correct, right? Yeah, that's what we did. We're gonna run with it. It's a RaidMax power supply. Not a lot of people like RaidMax power supplies, but this is 80 plus gold. It's their Vortex line, it has some nice cables, so we're gonna give it a shot. But of course, if you want some better alternatives, link in the description down below. We will reference some of the other ones that we use in other builds. You got your Corsairs, you got your Ares game if you wanna go that route. But you know, link in the description down below, other options. But for this used parts build, I think we'll be perfectly fine with this guy. And last but certainly not least is our case. This is the Apivia Aura, which is a case we've used a couple times actually. It first started in a pre-build that we bought very cheap and we really liked the way it looked. Then we built another PC with it, and now we're building another PC with it. Has some nice RGB, the power switch looks really cool. It's like a little lever design, and it's tempered glass on a budget, so you really can't complain. How are we gonna put this thing together? Because I think it's gonna look really good for the money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this budget gaming PC all booted up and ready to go, let's talk about a couple benchmarks real quick. Now, we decided to test this PC in a couple of titles, those being Call of Duty Cold War, Fortnite, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Apex Legends. First up in Call of Duty Cold War, on medium settings at 1080p, we got well over 100 plus FPS. This shows that the GTX 1070 is still a very viable card for a budget gaming rig. You can play pretty much anything you want at medium-high settings at 1080p with this 10 series card, and well, it goes to show it's a good option. It compares very well to a 1660 Super with just, well, a little bit more VRAM than a 1660 Super. So if you're playing games that are more VRAM dependent, this might actually be a better option. But a 1070, really awesome card, can play pretty much any game you want, and that 3500X is sneakily impressive, as you can see when we test games like Fortnite, which are more CPU dependent. On performance mode, we got well over 300 plus, sometimes 400 plus FPS. There were a few stutters here and there down to 200, and that has to do with the RAM that we used, only 3000 megahertz. Maybe going with something like 32 or 34 or maybe 3600 megahertz might make that a little bit better if you're trying to aim for the upper 300 plus FPS mark, but the 3500X does a really good job. It is not nearly as good as like 5th gen Ryzen, but it still has some pretty good IPC to make it great for a high refresh rate gaming experience in games like Fortnite, Rainbow Six Siege, Valorant, and all those other esports titles. Next up, in Shadow of the Tomb Raider with the built-in benchmark tool, on high settings, we averaged 82 FPS. This really maxed out the GTX 1070, but it does show on medium-high settings in pretty much any AAA title, you should get over 60 FPS with this PC. Realistically, a few years ago, you probably would have paid roughly, I don't know, $600 or $700 for this rig, and the fact that we were able to pay roughly that price, and well, it's more like $1,000 plus PC, it's still pretty impressive that we're actually able to find these parts at that price point. It might be a little bit hard for you at home to achieve this, but this is just another one of our examples of if you're patient, you have a decent used market, and you really look regularly, you might get some decent deals where people are selling off graphics cards at a really reasonable price. Not saying a 1070 for $380 is a great deal, but given the market, it's okay. And last but certainly not least is Apex Legends. On medium settings, we were pushing well over 100 plus FPS and hitting that FPS cap of 144, well, a decent amount at the time. Apex Legends is a slightly more demanding esports title, so I decided to add it to the benchmark rotation. Once again, guys, if you have any suggestions for future games to test on our PCs in the future, let me know in the comment section down below. But overall, this PC is very impressive. Being able to play games like Cold War and all the other AAA titles at over 60 plus FPS and sometimes into the 100 pluses, so we can actually take advantage of a 144Hz monitor, really makes it a great value offering if you're able to find stuff like this on the used market. So now we finished the benchmarking section of today's video. How about we bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick?
Alright guys, so as you could probably imagine, this PC did really good coming in under $1,000. Now, normally for a PC like this in the current market, you are going to be spending over $1,000, or you're going to get something like an HP pre-built that's going to come with a 3500X and let's say a 1650 Super for around the same price that we spent for all of this.
It was fun to do a pretty much all used parts build for once, because normally we'd love to do these, pick stuff up off of eBay, Facebook Market, places like that, and to actually get some used stuff in-house that works well and performs pretty well for the money is actually pretty refreshing for 2021. So if you guys want to build this PC, I will try to leave links down below. Just keep in mind it's gonna be more than what we mentioned in this video, but they will be links to eBay, and you can actually look yourself if you want to do some deal hunting. It is possible, you just have to be patient.
And this build just goes to show that not everyone is trying to scalp PC parts in 2021. Just keep in mind, if they are not scalper prices, they're gonna be gone instantly. So make sure that you're patient, keep an eye out, and yeah, have every single site pulled up 24/7. So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, don't forget to check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
And in case you guys didn't know, we also have our own PC selling business where this PC is probably already gone by the time this video is live, but I'm sure there's some other ones that'll be going live on the website right now.
PCBros.tech. Check it every day if you're hunting for a PC, because we're always going to have some awesome one-off builds like this posted to the website. See y'all in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.